Hi, Randel.
Good afternoon.
Thank you so much for coming on. Welcome to another episode of All the Rumors Are True. Today we have Randel Porter. I am so excited that you're here. I was terrified to ask if you would come on because some people get shy and don't want to talk about what they do for a living or, oh, I don't know if I want that much talked about on the internet. And I'm like, well, here at All the Rumors Are True, they're going to talk about you anyway. So you might as well just...
Yeah, because that's how you get the rumors.
Right, exactly. See, he gets it. So Randel is a therapist here in San Antonio. What kind of therapy do you, like, how do you present yourself? Like, what do you say? I'm a therapist for...
That's interesting. Usually people will say, well, what is it that you do? And if I'm feeling really smart ass, I'll say, I do magic. Because what I'm looking to do is shift how people have been processing information to a way that actually works for them, right? So ever since we're this big, information is installed in us by parents, teachers, religious figures, whatnot, television, media. Information is installed in us and we pick up stuff. And this information tells us how we're supposed to look at things, see things, how we're supposed to feel about things. But nobody's ever vetted the information to see if it's accurate or useful or beneficial. So a lot of times we can be fully functioning adults, but be looking at things in a way that causes us discomfort and pain. And that's what I do, is I disappear that pain. Right? My tagline on my website is, I disappear suffering.
Oh, I like that.
And most of what we experience when it comes to pain is just how we've been categorizing it and how we've been making sense of it. And it's never really been optimized. So what I do is I optimize how we process information so that the pain and discomfort disappears.
So I have kind of an analogy that goes with what you're saying with that. I had a stepbrother many moons ago. My parents have been divorced forever, and my dad's been married a couple times. And anyway, I had a stepbrother in one of those scenarios. And I was like 5 or 6. And he told me how big my nose was. Okay. Here I am, 39. And to this day, I still will be doing my makeup or something. And I'm like, oh my God, my nose is so big. And anyone who's around me, they're like, no, it's not. But it's like, I was given that information and then I've just chosen to believe it for the rest of my life from one person. It's not like all these people told me, one person.
Yes. When we are young, we don't know anything. We're born just with a blank hard drive up here. And again, some stuff is installed and some stuff we pick up. And what's kind of comical is that at 2, 3, 4, 5 years old, we are left on our own devices to make sense of what's going on. And you wouldn't let a 4-year-old or a 5-year-old give you life advice or financial advice. No. But one of the cosmic jokes of the universe is we are making what are essentially life-binding decisions about who we are at 3, 4, 5, 6. We're making these decisions at the same time that we believe in Santa Claus, the Easter Bunny, and the Tooth Fairy. Right?
Wait, they aren't real?
Well,
damn it.
Next session, I'll tell you.
Okay.
So what happens is we use people around us as mirrors, basically. It's as if everybody around us is holding up a mirror. And we use the reflection coming back from these mirrors to determine whether we're okay. Right? You've seen a lot of little kids, they'll do something and they'll look up to mom or look up to dad to see if mom or dad gives them approval, right? So we're using these mirrors, these people around us, to see if we're okay. But again, nobody's vetted the people to see if they're accurate reflections.
Yeah, if they're actually an expert, like, right? He wasn't a plastic surgeon that specialized in rhinoplasties.
And he wasn't a model scout.
No, he was 5. And he just told me, like, you have a big nose.
Right. And so if we're looking to people around us to see whether we're okay, we don't know how to discern whether their information is just full of shit or not. We're going to take it in and say, oh my God, It's like when you're young and some kid calls you fat or smelly or ugly, or you know how kids make fun of you for various things.
Yes.
And we're always looking to see if we're okay. But the funny thing is, we're using the people around us, but nobody's vetted them to see if they're okay. So what if a parent, for example, what if they're not an accurate mirror of whether we're okay? What if they're like a funhouse mirror? Those wavy funhouse mirrors. So you look into the mirror, you're 3 feet wide and 2 feet tall. Well, are you really 3 feet wide and 2 feet tall? No. But as a young kid, you're going to believe that image coming back because you don't know any different. And these are the formative years, let's say 0 to 10, when you're trying to make sense of yourself.
Well, even, I like how you say 0 to 10. Even there's other examples I can give, but I was bullied just to an insane amount starting around 7th grade all the way pretty much through high school.
By who?
Girls.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the stuff, it took me a long time to get to this point, but some of the stuff that they would say about me, like they would always call me fat because I was the bigger one out of this girl group. And when I say bigger, I was probably 120 pounds and they were all 100, right? So like not big, but the irony now, which it finally clicked, they would call me fat and all these things. And now I will randomly see them online and I'm like, no, that's what fat is. that karma came back to you. It only took me seeing them being bigger than me later in life where I was like, oh no, I'm not fat. They were just saying that to be mean. But it took like an example of me seeing them being bigger to realize that. And it's like, I think we should all definitely listen to this advice you've just given. And if we have somebody that told us something when we were 15 or whatever, like who cares what they said? Like let that go.
One of the ways to do that is an approach that I call lens out, which is what are we learning about the person who's giving us this information, right? So, for example, if I were to say to you, that top is absolutely beautiful. Are you learning anything about you or are you learning about what I think?
About what you think.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you cause me to say that?
No.
No. My eyes, my brain, my history, my taste caused me to say that. So if I say that's a beautiful top, it doesn't mean anything about you. Now let's flip it. That's pretty shitty. Did you get that at Goodwill? Right? Are you learning anything about you or you're learning about me?
You.
Right. So if I'm
You
saying,
have bad taste.
That's right. That's right. But you're not learning anything about you. So therefore, you're not hurt by it because you're simply learning how I see something. And how I see something is not a threat to you.
Right. No, I like that. So
people will say, just as much as people don't like negative comments, often people will say to me, I have a hard time taking compliments, right? And my first smart-ass response is, they're not about you.
They're about the other person.
They're about the other person.
I never thought about it that way.
Yeah. So if I say, I really like that top, what do people usually say? Oh, this old thing, I got it on sale for $5.99. No, the compliment's not about you. It's about how they see something. So taking a compliment should be wonderful. The idea is, do you want to shit on their experience of your shirt?
No.
That's right.
So I used to get in a lot of trouble growing up when someone would compliment my looks. In church or wherever, they'd come up to me and my parents and say, your daughter is so beautiful. I never viewed myself in that way. And so I could never, and I would get in trouble. We'd get home from wherever we were. And it was like, that is rude to not accept someone's compliment, even if you don't think that about yourself. No, like I got in trouble for it. That was a very real thing growing up.
Okay.
So hearing that I don't know what just clicked in me right now. That's what they think. That's their view.
Yeah.
And how rude of me to stand there and be like, say nothing, right? Like, look at that. Learn something new every day.
And not only that, psychologically, when we give compliments or attaboy, attagirl kind of stuff, psychologically, they're called strokes, like you're petting a cat, right? And we want to always give strokes when we have one to give, right? So if we're thinking something, go ahead and give it, right? If we're in a supermarket and the person in front of you has a purse that you really like, as long as you're not being rude or intrusive. Hey, I really like your purse. The idea is we want to have people be free to give strokes, compliments to people all over the place. We could call it like the stroke economy, right? It just keeps it going that people point out these things when they want to. You know, you've heard many people say, oh, I had this great work colleague or a friend and they moved away or they died or who knows what. And I never told them how much I appreciated them. It's that kind of thing, right? So when you have a stroke to give, always give it.
I love that. And we need a lot of strokes these days.
Yeah.
It's kind of sad times, I feel like.
Well, even young children, if you grow up in a family where your parents don't positively recognize things, it's like you grew up with an oxygen mask, but the kind of mask that prevents you from getting oxygen, right? Like it doesn't let air in. So we would say you didn't develop fully in ways that you could. Now, in some families, compliments are really hard to come by. And human beings would rather be praised than criticized, but we'd also rather be criticized than ignored. So for some people, negative attention is still attention.
Yes. And I was definitely a person that negative attention was attention. I dated just poor choice in men. It was almost like I was addicted to the toxicity because it was still attention. It was still like the fight was had and you just said the most vile things to me or did the most vile things and cheated or whatever. And then it was like, it's the second you gave me the attention of like, I'm so sorry I hurt you. Right? It was like, it took me years to get out of that cycle to realize like, no. That like, it's better to have nothing instead of this negative, toxic attention. But it was, and I'm sure you probably know way more about it than I do, but I'm sure a lot of it had to do with I was seeking validation from other things, maybe a parent who knows. And I was using boyfriends as a way of like, it would make me feel better. And now I look back and it hurts my own feelings that I never thought I was worthy of something more and better. Mm-hmm. It's, and it's kind of sad. And I really hope to instill I have a daughter and I hope one of the main things that I've just pounded in her for years is, don't ever let anybody disrespect you. Don't ever let anybody lie to you. Don't ever let anybody tell you you're not greater than you are. Because I feel like when you just get either not told anything at all, or when you do get told some things, it's something bad about yourself. How are you ever going to know like, wow, I really am worthy. I really do deserve, I deserve nice things too. And that took me a long time for that to click. I've been in therapy. I think I started when I was 15. So a long time. There were a few years I didn't go, but my question for you about therapy, just for anyone wanting to start therapy or that's been in therapy and they don't feel like they're getting anywhere, how long should you stay with a therapist until you're like, okay, nothing has really like changed here?
I'm stuck on whether you want my actual opinion or a therapeutic type opinion.
Both. Can I have both?
Well, I'll put it this way. When I was in my late 20s, I had a period of time, late 20s, early 30s, where I went through a bunch of depression, anxiety, some other things. Pretty severe, actually. And I went to a number of therapists during that time. And one day I counted not too long ago, and I went to a total of 7 therapists during that time. And not one said anything to me. And I went to them all multiple times. Not one said or did anything that moved the needle at all. And when I went into this profession after that, I said to myself, I'm not going to be that kind of therapist because I knew I was in pain, I was suffering, and I wanted it done right now. And I said to myself, I am going to put together an approach that will address that right away. Because I know that when people contact me, whatever pain or discomfort that they're feeling, I know it didn't start just that morning,
Right.
and they want it gone. And so I put together an approach with that as the MO. Now, there's a lot of therapeutic approaches where the client just sits and performs their pain for the therapist. And then there's a typical therapeutic question, right? And how does that make you feel? I don't ask that question because that invites the person to suffer and to feel bad. And I don't want to get too deep too quickly, but when people have been suffering for a long time or had trauma from childhood, when you start recalling that, the mind, the subconscious mind, has no sense of time. So what happens is as you recall these things, the subconscious mind is re-experiencing it right now. That's exactly how PTSD can happen, for example. Because since this mind has no sense of time, the mind can't initially discern whether this is 2026 and you're in a gated community in Stone Oak, or whether it's 1963 and you're in the Vietnam War. So that's how a firecracker can go off and the person dives under the couch because he goes, oh my God, here they come, right? Because the subconscious mind has no sense of time. So because of that, I want to prevent a client suffering in real time with me because then the mind is experiencing it anew. So when people tell me about their past, I only need a headline. Just give me a headline, 2 or 3 lines, that's it. Let me know how it's been bothering you recently, and let's go ahead and clear it. Let's get it so whatever this thing is doesn't bother you anymore. And it can be something severe, or it can be something as simple as, every time I talk to my mother-in-law, we get into an argument, and I don't want that to happen anymore. So I'm looking to make the changes quickly because by the time people have called me, they've usually put it off, maybe seen other therapists, and they're just done with it. And so I get that. I want them to be done with it too. If I can fix it in one session, I'm thrilled. And I've done really quick, great things in a short amount of time that I'm very happy about. Some things take longer. Some people want to keep coming because they keep saying, well, then how about this? Well, then how about this? Well, then how about this? Or they like learning different ways to look at things.
So you saying that right now definitely resonated with me because anytime I would start with either a psychiatrist, therapist, whatever it may be, where were you born? And then it's like, you've already divulged all this. You've answered all these questions to this one person. And even though I was like not necessarily happy with who I was seeing at the time, I'm like, I don't have the energy to go meet somebody else and then say this whole thing over again. That first session is like brutal. Because so you saying like, give me the headline, my God, that would have saved me from years and years of different therapists because I'm like, we're not getting really to the root of anything. I maybe don't have the tools just to try to like help me with this. And I've seen some good therapists, others not, but it's always like, it's like that wound is closed. And then it's like, then the wound is reopened as soon as you start with somebody else. And I'm like, this is exhausting.
Not only that, but my most important question, and I could put you on the spot, we could role play. You don't have to answer it, but my most important starting question is, if we could change something, if we could change or improve something in the way you think, feel, or act today in this session, if we can change something in the way you think, feel, or act today, what will we get done? And then people will tell me what they want to change. So already their mind is looking towards possibilities. Now, some people have been kind of stuck. Like, let's say somebody comes in and they'll say, I've had anxiety really bad for 18 years and it just bothers me and hurts me and blah, blah, blah. And I might say to them, well, give me an idea. If we could wave a magic wand, what would your life look like minute by minute, day by day, instead of what you've been experiencing? And they'll go, what do you mean? Because they haven't even thought about a life free from anxiety. So I'm looking for, what are we going to change? What are we going to improve? You know where you have been. I'm the guide for where you want to be. And I'm going to start with those questions. Now, that's why I only need a headline to learn what might be preventing the person from going forward.
Love that. Randel, guys, this is a great therapist right here. Like honestly, I've had some light bulbs click just right now in talking to you where I'm like, oh, I wish somebody would have laid it out that simply for me. I feel like sometimes therapists or just ourselves, we try to make it more complicated than it is.
That's another thing. It's almost like you're just serving up the questions for me here, the topics. One of the things that I do that I'm really excited about is I've put together ways of looking at things that actually accomplish, I don't know, 5 or 6 layers of work all at one time. So instead of delving into this and that and everything else, I'll mention if we look at it this way, and I'll put some phrases up on the board, for example. If we look at things this way or follow this simple little rule, it automatically takes care of a lot of fears and hurts and things underneath. So I've found ways to simplify it, both time-wise and understanding-wise. Now, there's occasions where we go into things much deeper, of course, but I always want to err on the side of how efficient can we be.
Yeah, because I think just with life in general today, I feel like we, as a society, a majority of the society, we make things more complicated on ourselves. And I don't think any of it is, I don't think we're actively trying to, but I think we just do.
Well, one of the culprits is our language fucks us up. And our language is the source of all of our pain. I go into this in detail in sessions. But think about it. If you were to put your hand on the proverbial hot stove, like a red hot burner, if you didn't have language, what would you say?
Nothing.
Yeah, you'd make a noise maybe, right? Because it would hurt like hell.
Scream probably.
But would you say, why am I such an idiot? Why am I stupid? Fuck my life. Nothing works out for me. I'm the stupidest one in the family. We wouldn't say anything negative.
No.
If we didn't have language.
Right.
We would know not to do it again the next time we saw a red flame. But we wouldn't walk around saying, God, I'm so stupid, blah, 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 blah. Think about how many things we say that about. No other life form does that. No other animal is walking around saying how stupid they are or how they mess something up or how, they'll never learn. No, because our language is the source of our pain. So what we're going to do is we're going to change how we look at language and change our use of some of the language. And we're going to see where a lot of it's useless.
Yeah. I know that's right. I think I cuss so much because that's my language. Like just right then when you said the proverbial, if you couldn't speak, I wanted to say, no, I'd still scream fuck. Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
I think
you'd make a noise because of the pain.
Yeah.
But without language, there would be, the important part is there'd be no language of you diminishing yourself.
Right. Well, yeah, I wouldn't. Right. If a squirrel almost gets hit by a car, the squirrel's obviously not saying anything. It's just like, oh, I'm going to keep running.
Yeah. It's not saying, why am I so fucking stupid?
Yeah.
No, and then it has low self-esteem.
And I feel like that's how we all are today.
That's right.
And I feel like the internet has made, or social media, not the internet. The internet is great, right? But I do feel like when I get online, I feel like the less time I'm online, the better. Do you see that a lot with any of your patients of like, they're just obsessed with, I don't look like this person online. I don't have what this person online has. Do you see that much?
Occasionally. There's so many things about online. It's all formulated. Even if you watch or follow your feed, let's say on Twitter or X, you could subscribe to a lot of political channels. But every so often, maybe every 4 or so things, they're going to throw in something funny or something cute. And the idea is they're giving you just enough of a difference to keep you going. And so
Keep you engaged.
to keep you engaged.
Yeah.
So everything is manipulated in that way. So that's one thing I hear from people. The other thing is, like you said, when you see influencers, the human mind can think that one person equals everybody. So if you see one influencer who lost weight, who looks great, who now made $1 million, all of a sudden the mind can say, wow, everybody else is doing these great things and I'm not.
Right.
Because it's just one person. Another reason, probably the most important reason, the human mind is hardwired to skew negative. Why? For survival reasons. If you go back 10,000 years, we didn't have a easy source of food all the time. We didn't know if a wild animal was going to kill us and eat us. We didn't know if the neighbor was going to kill us and steal the ox that we had. We didn't know if a weather event was going to come out of nowhere and kill us. So it really served our minds to be looking for threats and looking for dangers. And because our mind is hardwired to skew negative, humans perceive lack. That's how the advertising and marketing industry works. They hone in on the natural fact that humans are always measuring lack. If I talk to you or talk to anybody out in podcast land, they can give you a list of what they don't have, right? I want to be thinner. I want to be richer. I want to put a room on the house. I want a different car. Everybody has a list, whether it's on paper or in their head, of what they want to acquire, right? So everybody is aware, supposedly, of what they lack. But what if we don't lack anything? What if it's just a made-up byproduct of our human mind skewing negative? You could have somebody with a net worth of $47 million. And for some reason, they've said, I can't be happy, I don't feel successful until I have a net worth of $50 million, right? Well, 47 million is pretty damn sizable.
Yeah.
And they're saying, I can't be happy, I'm not satisfied until I have $50 million. Every morning when they get up, what's the first thing they think about? That $3 million
The 3
that they
million.
lack.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And then every night when they go to bed, how much closer am I to that 3 million? So the mind is drawn to what they lack. They're not waking up saying, I have $47 million, I'm the luckiest person on earth. The mind is focused on what they lack. So that's what social media does, is it seems to activate that part of the mind that says, I don't have this, I don't have that, or conversely, they have this, they have that.
Right.
That's the misread that happens with us humans.
I've noticed that I had to kind of step away from social media for a while. Like I got off Instagram for like a year. I think it was probably like last year, because I just caught myself I'm like, why do I even care? Like, why do I care this much about people I don't know or what's online? Like, I feel like I kind of had gotten away from reality, and I started reading a lot more. And what I've noticed is getting back to just kind of basics. Like, we're all very blessed, right? Look at us right now. We're sitting in a podcast studio, chatting, terrible weather. But I'm like, let's take it back. We're breathing, we're healthy, we're alive, like, all the things. And I feel like social media got to me for a little bit. And, I had gained weight, and it was like every time I saw somebody that was thinner, I just wanted to just beat myself up. Like, why can't I be skinny like that? Why,
Well, this talks about two things that we just talked about. Number one, why can't I be skinny? Why do I beat myself up? Language, right? Without language, we wouldn't be beating ourselves up. And number two, mind seeing something that they have that supposedly we don't have. So language and lack is causing frustration. So we look at these things and we see what the real origin of these things is.
I just love Randel, guys. This is amazing. You put things. I think we should charge for this pod. I think you just gave a lot of advice.
I will. Don't worry.
There'll be a link at the bottom of the pod. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, I do want to add. Your website is
therapistsanantonio.com.
therapistsanantonio.com.
Yes.
And you do Zooms.
Yes,
as well.
I do video, and my approach is every bit as effective over video as it is in person. I see individuals, I see couples, any combination of the above. Yeah.
Okay. So if you can you share some, either a funny story or a bit of advice that you feel like has helped the majority of the people you see? You probably have so many.
Yeah, they're all crowded at the top because there's so many things that all help different people. I don't know if this is going to sound bragging.
No.
Can I give you a success story?
Yes.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Okay. I'm going to change some of the data, and nobody will ever know the person, but I'm going to change things about it, but the story will be the same.
Okay.
So let's say that a 68-year-old woman called me for a consultation. Let's say she had done therapy for 30 years. And she calls and we do a consultation over Zoom. And let's say she lives in Dallas. And we do this consultation and she's rather despondent. And she never looks in the camera. She's just looking down into the side and kind of moping a bit. And I'm my usual effusive self, going over things, asking some questions. It's about 25 minutes. And at the end, I say, all right, if you'd like to do some sessions with me, feel free to get in touch and we'll arrange something. I go, okay. Well, then we end the thing. And 2 days later, I get a text from her. And she says, how did you know exactly what was wrong with me in 25 minutes when nobody else could tell me for 30 years? Including therapists, psychiatrists, and everything. And I texted back and I said, it's just the lens by which I view things. And she said, I would like to come down to visit you from Dallas, so 4.5 hours, right? I'd like to make appointments to come down and visit you, and I'll come once a week to come see you. And I said, I have a different idea. If you come to San Antonio, do you have a place where you can stay? Yes. I'll tell you what, come down on a Thursday. We'll do a 2-hour session. Stay overnight on Thursday. Come back on Friday. We'll do a 2-hour session. And she says, what about after that? And I said, you won't need an after that.
I love this.
I don't know what was going on with me, but...
No, because you know your worth and you know how great you are.
Well, I knew what was going on, and I knew how to get right to it. So we did the 2-hour session on Thursday. When they came back on Friday, for the first half hour, all they said is, what did you do yesterday? What did you do? Blah, 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 blah. I feel different. I feel better. And then we addressed the rest of it. Well, the following week, the person brought their spouse, made a separate trip down to San Antonio with their spouse to meet me. So the spouse can see what we did. And then afterwards, they went on vacation and sent me postcards and emails and things like that. And I'm not saying this so much to bring attention to me. I'm bringing attention that there's another way to see what's going on with people and a way to get in there kind of with wrenches and screwdrivers and make tweaks that really change how we think, feel, and act.
I know, but that also, I thank you for sharing that story.
Was it too much?
No, it actually wasn't
really
fucking
proud of
enough. I wish you would give more of these stories, but we don't have all day.
I got
because I know you got them. Oh boy, I know you got them. I know they're there. That's damn right. But also to kind of give it a different perspective, I had this doctor, right? A PCP, primary care physician, was just going to him, right? Didn't really think about, I didn't think he was doing a bad job. I didn't think he was doing a great job. I was like, yeah, he's just doing his job. I switched doctors and it was like my life changed. It was like night and day. So I feel like sometimes some of us, like this example you gave, had gone to therapy for however many years and it didn't work. I feel like sometimes you just have to be in the right hands. Because I switched and immediately this guy's pulls out my chart and he goes, whoa. This, you're lethargic? And he's like, yeah, this blood pressure medication you're on, he's like, it makes you lethargic. He's like, stop it now. He's like, not cold turkey. He's like, taper off. He's like, I'm gonna tell you what, that one little tweak alone changed everything. And I'm like, why didn't my doctor that I've been going to, why did it never click, right? So it's I feel I see how that easily can happen because why would you want to switch? You're with somebody, they're doing their job, but you don't really know that they're not doing like the best job they could do until you start looking around.
Yeah. And I'm looking for the root cause, which is often subconscious. And it often has to do with language and with lack and with our sense of time and things like that. And I'm always looking for the root cause where we can go in there and make the switch that then filters down and changes everything, right? Because when you adjust it at that level, all of a sudden, all the other sad, traumatic things, they shift as well because the meaning and the hold that they may have had on you shifts when you see them in a new light. Now, I have to say, I'm not 100% successful. I wish I was, but it's a high percentage, but it's not 100. Some people, maybe I just can't reach them. Some people, maybe they have comfort in discomfort.
Yeah, in pain.
Yeah, some people do. But I love what I do, and I love the looks on their faces when they go, holy shit, right? That kind of thing.
Well, honestly, just right now, it clicked to me about the nose thing. You gave one example, and I'm like, oh my God, he told me I had a big nose when I was 5, and I've thought it my whole life. Well, it literally just clicked right now for me, and this isn't even a session, right? Like, we're just chatting.
Yeah, but you're going to get a bill, remember?
Yeah, shit. Damn it. Well, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come on this pod. I have all different walks of life on here because I want this pod to always feel like a place of, if I can't find the help, let me be the help was kind of my attitude when I started this pod because I was searching for certain things that I just couldn't find. I couldn't find through therapy or friends or there were just things. And I was like, you know what? Why don't I just come on here and start talking about real life shit, real life scenarios, real life people. And let's talk about the things that hurt. Let's talk about the things that make us happy. Let's get uncomfortable. Let's dig into that. And I am so glad that you came on because holy shit, this pod I know is going to help a lot of people. Like it already helped me. Not even 5 minutes in. I mean, I know I have to pay for it. No, I know. But thank you so much for this. Thank you so, so much. Guys, again, Randel Porter, therapist, sanantonio.com. Okay, guys, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on All the Rumors Are True. Thanks again, Randel. Thank you.
You guys, that was really good.
Oh, it was really good. Randel,
Was it?
you're everything.
No,
This fucking fly, I was about to die.
No, the entire time I'm like...
You're like, Millicent's about to have a heart attack.